and especially the joke that's in the White House. Why are they not protecting the American people?
Well, for one thing, on the issue of Trump's ban on Muslims, it's unconstitutional. What he's being perceived as doing, he cannot do. However, when he says that he wants to extradite or to stop immigration from areas that are radicalized, where ISIS is present, say Syria or Iraq, that is permissible, and it's very much easy to do.
That's what I've heard him.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
he's tried to move
to
for that.
right.
He just needs to quit saying the first part of the statement and go on to the other, because I don't think he means the first part of the statement, and it's misconstrued to that central. But when you were talking about the radicalization, there's a clear point of radicalization, and we do have people here. First of all, ISIS is people think that ISIS is something that is ragtag group of people that are not organized. ISIS is extremely organized.
Yes.
I mean, they use social media to recruit people.
They
use media, and they have magazines and newspapers. They have a government. They have a finance system.
They have a bunch of our money
to
do this.
Well, and they have a bunch of military equipment that was left there.
Right.
That's part of the problem. They have a very sophisticated, and they have done very, very well in inspiring Western, even non-Muslim Western people to become a part of their jihad. Now, as far as when you're born into Islam, you're born as a Muslim, you grow up as a Muslim. Like I said, the vast majority, 95% of the Muslims, of the 1.8 billion Muslims in the world, are not violent and do not believe in jihadism. Jihadism is just like when you grow up and you become a white supremacist. Just because you're white doesn't mean you become radicalized. Something triggers it in you, either an event in your personal life or someone who reaches out and recruits to you. Same thing with gangs. Not everybody becomes a member of a gang, but they're recruited to do so. It's very similar across the board on that. What we have to do is to infiltrate that social media network and begin to understand who is vulnerable to the radicalizations and follow who is being radicalized. And as far as the mosque that you were talking about, that's what we were talking about before. We have a First Amendment right that are protections there, but we have to start using the aides and the informers that we have in the Muslim community who are there to tell you who is speaking radically, who is teaching incorrect, perverse things, because the city of Louisville was a great testament to what Islam really was earlier, the week before this attack with Muhammad Ali, and the way that they handled themselves, and the amount of outpouring of non-denominational support and of multi-religious support for a man who spoke of peace and who spoke of true values. And now we have moved on, and we have these radicalizations, so we should be able to see the difference here immediately. And that's why our government should be acting based upon those leads.
Yeah, but one of the things I want to put in there, too, is, I'm not against Islam, I'm not against Muslims, I'm not against, these groups or whatever. The thing that I want to emphasize here on this deal is I leave other people alone. I don't try to, I'm a Christian, so I don't go out and try to beat somebody over the head and tell them you got to become a Christian. So we're hearing all this fear and all this stuff about they don't want to become part of our society. They want to take and use their book and whatever to control our society, and that is what I'm going to stand up against, because I am not going to follow Sharia law. I don't care nothing about Sharia law, and I'll never follow it. I'll fight it until I die.
And Sharia law is an aspect of radicalism. It is not an aspect of the religion as a whole. And that's where we're talking. There's a differentiation, and all of us who have stood here and made those statements toward radical Islam and jihadism, we are differentiating the two. And of course, we have to have assimilation in our country. That's something we have promoted. But by the way, we haven't promoted assimilation as a whole, not just for in general, for a long, long time. And that's assimilation does not mean destroying your cultural ties to your background. Assimilation means that you have come to America for its freedoms, for its beliefs, and for its values. Therefore, you share those freedoms and beliefs and values. You still have the right to be a member of any political party that you want. You have the right to be any religious denomination that you want. You have the right to be any a multitude of things. Support your own sports team if you want. But those are part of the freedoms that we have. It does not prevent you from assimilating when you choose to be different in all those ways. That's the beauty of America.
Yeah, and speaking of this assimilation, can that go back to the 1960s, to where in the school system in the late 60s, everybody that was, being immigrated into America, they had to actually learn the English language. In other words, that was a part of the assimilation. Now we have schools that they don't teach the English language. They have teachers that speak their language, so therefore, there's no incentive or anything for them to assimilate. And then on top of that, it goes to Darwin's theorem of social status, where like groups will group together. Well, that also helps to put that segregation there, and the non-assimilation factor continues to grow to where you have, and of course this is a country of many nations, obviously. But again, we have our Constitution, and everybody must follow the Constitution or they need to leave.
Roger, we got to run to a break. We'll be right back, and we'll catch Susan as well. But Roger, we'll get your answer. Don't go away.
WFIA, The Spirit.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. The horrific massacre in Orlando Sunday night and the double murder of 2 French police the next day drive home the global reach of the radical Islamist ideology and the violence it breeds. There is no geographical limit to where jihadis will reach, and there is no limit to the killing that they will embark upon. Perhaps the West has grown used to their depraved executions in the new ISIS lands of Iraq and Syria, but we should make no mistake of the ambitions of the group: to kill gays and lesbians and straight people, to kill Christians and Jews, to kill police and soldiers, to kill, and all in the name of their diseased theology. The response of the West has to be simple: to kill them first, beginning with the caliphate. As our military and the militaries of NATO and our Arab allies take the fight to them, our intelligence community must battle the killers online, where they are seen and where they are not. This is Hugh Hewitt.
Learn more at townhallreview.com.
Hey, Valley View Church, meet your new pastor, Brian Stone.
Well, good morning, Valley View. Well, me and my family made it here to Louisville. You guys have been so welcoming to us, and I couldn't feel more certain of our call.
Of course, new guests are always welcomed and encouraged to attend either the 9 a.m. or 10:45 a.m. service. From Kingsland Baptist Church in Katy, Texas, welcome head pastor Brian Stone and his wife Holly and their 2 children to Valley View Church. For more info, go to valleyviewchurch.org.
Shakes and Scallops, roofing, shutters and gutters, soffit and fascia, vinyl sidings, doors, and yes, windows. Along with their attractive merchandise and professional installation, they also have an incredible peace of mind lifetime warranty. Yep, from the date of installation, Window World will be there to service any defects in material or workmanship. Now that's the kind of people I love to deal with. Call Window World today at 502-671-7777, 671-7777, and visit their website at windowworldlouisville.com.
You're listening to Just Ask Joyce on WFIA, The Spirit.
And we have Susan on the line. Susan, if you can hold on just a second. And Garrett, if you'll just address the couple of points that Roger made.
The one point on the education part, now on the education part, you're getting English as a second language, but you're also, and you have translators there, but our schools are teaching the English language. And a lot of that is, and we need to make sure that they continue to do so by, like I said, voting on school board members and voting on superintendents and public instruction and others. But they are they're teaching the English language, and they're learning that. It is part of an assimilation process. I mean, you can't expect someone to automatically have the language without having a translator there to help them with it. So that is part of our education system. But, like I said, on assimilation, just in the general point, we do need to promote a sense of assimilation again that we just haven't done for a long, long time.
All right, Susan, thank you for being patient, darling.
Hi, Joyce. Hi, Gary. Thank you all for the program you're doing today. And I particularly, Gary, thank you for reminding us that, any attack could be, on our churches or anything. So I appreciate you for the voice of reason. I just want to remind everyone, because sometimes I get, I've been on both sides of the fence, and I've been civically active my whole adult life. And one of the main things we can do is pray for our president. Amen. I don't think that anything bad about anybody really helps. And I think we got to be careful because what comes out of our mouth is from our heart. And, you know, that's all that really matters. We can agree to disagree. Not all Christians have to be one Republican or Democrat. You know, there are many Christians who are either or independent. And I just wanted to say that to people out there rather than,
especially this year,
whether I like them or not.
Yeah,
you know?
especially this year, Susan. I mean, we have a lot of split and divide in our communities, and a lot of people who had loyalties in the primary that are still trying to come to terms with that. And I get emails from that all the time. I mean, I said this before on the show, and I'll say it again. I have never received as many emails as I do this year about how many people are just so undecided, and they're still undecided right now.
They're fitful over it. They are.
And it is true. I mean, we have, the two major party nominees are the most unpopular two major party nominees we've had in a long time. I think unpopular ratings will go up for one in specific, but I think that probably a little bit on both. And I do see the favorability rating of President Obama dropping a little bit. But and I've said this too, Susan, I agree. I pray for President Obama every single day and his family and for all of our members of Congress, many of them friends of mine, clients of mine. We need to pray for our leaders in this troubled world, and that this past week was a sign of that.
And we need to pray for the candidates as well, for their safety, because I think that it is on the line. Susan, thank you so much, darling.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for calling in.
I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Susan said. It's so easy to come up with our own determinations of what we think about our president, and we just need to pray. And until you are actually in the leadership role as being a president, you never know what you may do. So I agree with Susan. It's easy to throw those attacks out there, but you just have to if we're Christians, we need to pray.
Amen. Yeah. That's what I said. We both said that. But again, I will piggyback on that and say I still believe that the office of the president demands a certain demeanor. And, for him to pick up the phone and call a governor and offer his condolences, offer his help, just to touch base with him, and just say, hey, this is tragic, this is horrible. For him to be, I would expect from the office of the president for him to have some compassion, at least to show an ounce of compassion for these people, and more compassion than he did fervor about, Trump's stand and the NRA's stand. And, that's my problem with that. I felt offended. It offended me that, he just didn't seem to have the best interest of those people at heart. And those are hurting people. And